Well, hello, happy hump day. Hope you all are doing very well today, or as well as can be expected, right? So, excuse me, I'm a little congested today, and I'm going to be drinking while I'm doing this video. So I want to. One of the reasons that I always talk about this is that you have to know what your value is, because you're going to be explaining that to the employer. They don't read between the lines, and they don't really get it just from your resume and cover letter, although that's a good start. That's a great start. That's our real start, right? And yesterday's video, I talked about building a LinkedIn profile and starting to put your skill sets on that LinkedIn profile and everything that would indicate to the employer that you are a fit for that law firm or that government agency or perhaps a corporation. Where I lived in Oklahoma in the past, one of the places where paralegals were employed were in oil and gas corporations. We had, I think Citgo was there in Tulsa. I don't know if they still are, but that was one of the areas. How will you be able to communicate that? It's not just when you get the interview. You've got to start long before that. Excuse me. It's the pollen, I think. It's got me a little... So what is that value? You've got to brainstorm that, because when you do get a call to go on an interview, you're going to be repeating that. The things that you've already done, that you've said on your LinkedIn profile, won't go into detail on that. Watch yesterday's video, okay? So you're going to have that information there. You're going to have provided it, the information, in your cover letter and resume. But step one is not that. Step one is taking this notebook or any type of, I don't care if it's a journal or any, just grab some paper, blank printer paper, and start to write down the value that you will bring to the law firm. You have to brainstorm that, because that is going to impact your profile on LinkedIn, and you should have a lot of that information there. And it's going to impact how you do your resume and cover letter. And you hear me say this a lot. Don't send a same resume and cover letter to every attorney out there that has a job posting in your area, thinking that they'll just get it. They won't. You have to explain yourself. And so when you go, yes, the ultimate is to get called in for an interview. But what I teach in my Paralegal Inner Circle class is they're going to interview you and ask you specific questions. You have to ask them specific questions. They will call you in for a big reason. You will get that phone call for a huge, huge reason, is because they are starting to get it. You may not get hired, but just getting that phone call and going into that interview, that is, hey, you got to chalk it up to practice if you don't get that job. Even when I've been desperate, haven't gotten the job. So there's a reason why you're not getting certain jobs, okay, or getting any callbacks. And if you can't show what your value is, don't take it for granted or assume. We never assume in the legal field. Attorneys will preach that because it was preached at them in law school. Don't assume that they know what you're bringing to the table, but you know what? You have to know how to help them. You have to know how to help them. So it's not just, well, I got a degree, so that should tell them. Nope, it doesn't. I mean, you could have a degree in paralegal studies, but it does not tell them how you're going to help them. They know that you don't know how to help them. They know that you have head knowledge, but the practical side, you do not have. Not from a 2-year degree, you do not. And you don't have it from a certificate. You have head knowledge. And so the person that teaches you the practical side is a paralegal. Okay? And most law firms, sorry, but they don't want to get into training. They don't offer training. And if they say they do, they'll do it for 2 weeks and then they'll be fed up because that's not what they like to do. And they don't have the time. So learn what's the answer, Leslie? Well, as you've heard me say in many videos, if you're not going to jump into the Paralegal Inner Circle class, then you've and research what paralegals do in that specific area of law that you're looking at, that you're applying to. You know, I go into great detail on how to apply properly to the job ads, but you have to have knowledge first in a practical sense, not just head knowledge on how to dissect law. We're not, you know, you're going into a career where we are experts in administration, in organizing, in pulling puzzle pieces together in the law firm. We are not attorneys. And some courses teach you from the slant of being an attorney, but that does not help you work. Not as much as you might think. So the best way to learn is from another paralegal. Okay, so when I do these videos and I give you advice to go look and check out what paralegals do in those areas of law, boy, you've got to become an expert before you start sending resumes and cover letters off, because you have to start on day one in knowing what you're doing. And I go over with you in my class what to do and what you should do on day 1 and 2. That will help you so much in the long run, and what systems you should use to help keep you organized and not put you in a freak out moment because you realize that you don't know what you're doing. That's the worst when you feel that, right? So let me read you something. When you don't understand your value, it's a clear indication that you're unclear. And when you're unclear, no one will hire you. Okay? People will complain over and over again that they have this degree, they have this certificate, they have this XYZ, but nobody's calling them because the potential employer knows that right at that moment, you don't have the practical value that they need. And what does that mean? Exactly what I said. What do paralegals do every day in the area of law that you're looking at? And how will you keep everything organized? How will you help the attorney? I ask you that a lot in these videos. That's the question you have to ask. It's not just, and that's asking yourself. It's not just saying, well, I have customer service skills 200%. I can handle customers. That's excellent, okay? And Leslie, I can answer the telephones. I know how to do that. Fantastic. But there's this whole other area that is very diverse that you have to know how to do. Does that mean it's the end of the road for you? No, it does not. Do those things I tell you to do. Become this fantastic researcher, okay? And if you're able to, take the Paralegal Inner Circle class. The link is in a post I posted earlier, okay? And you'll see it there. And that will give you information about it. You learn the practical side of being a paralegal. And you have to go through training that I give you, but it's on demand, 40+ videos, and you will get additional training in the private Facebook group. So think hard and seriously about joining us, okay? I want you to be very clear and use a notebook. Line out your value. What are those skills you're bringing to, what are the software skills you're bringing to the table? How's your English grammar? Can you put a letter together? That's not something that you will put, they'll expect you to do that. You don't need to say, I can put a letter together. That wouldn't look too cool. But having a heading called software on your resume and listing the software that you know how to use, and that you are at a high level with it is very important. Okay, so would I put down Microsoft Word? Well, I would put down Microsoft Word basic and advanced skills if you have them. Don't put it down if you don't possess it. Because remember, attorneys know how to get at the truth of the matter because they question people for a living. So don't try to do anything that's underhanded. Always go after the truth within yourself and head for excellence and learn new things. Because you can't fake it till you make it in this career. Cannot do that. There aren't many careers where you can do that. So I want you to be able to know where you stand and what you have to do to improve. And you need to be able to communicate that to the employer. But first, you got a lot of research to do. You know, and when you see a job ad for a specific area of law, then you have to become quite the expert in that if you're going to apply for that job. You say, well, Leslie, there's no time. How am I going to become an expert? And then the job will be gone. You won't get a callback regardless. I mean, you won't get a callback if you apply without being an expert. So you have to do that regardless. There's no way around that. And then you're able to say, I know how to do X, Y, Z. I know how to do this and this because you've done your homework. You know what that specific paralegal does. You know, there's a book I recommend under paralegal resources on my website, and it's a paralegal that I know personally named Lynn DeVenny. And Lynn has worked in workers' compensation law for years and years and years, probably 2.5 to 3 decades in that area of law. So she and her attorney wrote a book on it for paralegals. So that's an indication that you need to absorb all that and read through things like that and write down the highlights. What do paralegals do in that area of law? Okay? And then you've got to explain it to the potential employer. And when they call you in, you'll be explaining it again, see? So, can you break in without experience? Yes, you can. But you don't get in just by going, okay, I want to be a paralegal, and then they're going to hire you. You have to do this work. So, and it isn't all about school or getting a certificate, because those two things, for the most part, are empty of the practical side. And the attorneys know this. The potential employers know this. And what happens sometimes is that, yes, you will get hired, and then they'll stick you with somebody who is supposedly going to train you, but has no time. You need to train yourself. Okay? Take it upon yourself to go the extra mile. You know, or join us in the Paralegal Inner Circle class. That's your choice, right? But I would love to have you. So, anyway, think about these things and push yourself really hard to not give up and to go forward and not let the negativity talk in your ear and stop you from moving forward, okay? Been there. I understand all about negative self-talk. I feel like I totally am winning that battle, but it's an everyday battle, okay? And I know other people deal with it too. But you know, you have to shut it down, shut the negativity down, and move forward, and keep moving forward, and track what you're learning right here. So if you're looking at a specific law like workers' compensation, or have a notebook with pages dedicated to your research and what you're finding. What do those paralegals do? What do they do? Okay? And that's important. And then the world starts to open up to you. And then you get to see what the everyday is like. Okay? All right, so that is it for today. Don't forget to go over to the website, paralegalcoffeetalk.com. If you haven't gotten the free chapter of my book, go over there and get it. And also there's the 19 alternative paralegal careers list. Go over there. It's right at the top of the website. Check that out. A lot of people are coming into my paralegal subscriber hub as a result of getting those things. And there's a couple videos waiting for you there, so that are not available anywhere else. So go check that out, okay? And get those, get on the mailing list, because I will have another email going out probably as we get closer to the weekend, so that you don't miss out on additional training that I'm not really putting anywhere else. Okay, so have a great one. Have a great Wednesday night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you in tomorrow's video. Bye.